Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran. I'm an independent travel agent specialising in all things cruise, Disney and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I write about family travel and cruise over at Mini Travellers.
And today, Sarah, we are once again talking about one of my favourite cruise lines, which is Virgin Voyages. I think this podcast is like unofficially the Royal Caribbean Celebrity Virgin Voyages and sometimes Disney Cruise Line podcast. And other cruise lines are available. We just don't talk about them very often. Yeah. So yeah, today what we thought, and it's all off the back of, it's quite exciting as kind of a bit of a Virgin Voyages fan. And this has been a long time coming. And as of it's literally yesterday, Brilliant Lady made her debut in New York, which is the fourth Virgin Voyages ship. However, 2 weeks ago, I was very lucky to be invited by Virgin Voyages to go on board ahead of her transatlantic friends and family sailing to get a look at kind of what's new on board the fourth lady ship, as Virgin call it, and just have a little look around. So we thought today we'd just have a little bit of a chat about Brilliant Lady, what makes her so unique and special to Virgin, and just probably hear me for 45 to an hour talk about why I love Virgin Voyages so much.
Yeah, because I am in the dark on this one.
I keep trying to convince you, don't I? I'm like, you need to try it. You'll love it. And you're like, nah, I'm loyal to Royal.
I think probably the food is a pull because I know that they're good for gluten-free. Yeah. And I think that might be something that could swing me.
Yeah,
but we will see.
It's why we fell in love with them, to be honest, is like the experience and overall everything like that we love, but food 100% was what kind of won us over and made us kind of fall in love with the brand, because it is exemplary. And for people who don't know, I'll just kind of do a bit of a backtrack, because we have talked about Virgin quite a lot in the past, but Virgin Voyages is an adult-only cruise line, no kids allowed, 18 plus only on board type of thing. They do have 4 ships, so Brilliant Lady is the 4th ship, Scarlet Lady is the original, Valiant Lady, Resilient Lady, and Brilliant Lady is the 4th one just launching now. She did have a bit of a delay, so she was meant to launch last year, and Virgin made the choice, and at the time I was angry, but now think it was the right choice, because they launched 3 ships back-to-back post-COVID. They wanted to give the 4th ship a bit of breathing room so they could build up momentum and excitement for it and not have too many ships competing with each other at the same time. So they delayed her for a whole year. So for a whole year, she was sailing off the coast of Europe, teasing everyone as the ships were going past with nobody on board. But she's finally sailing now, and she's doing a bit of a North America tour, basically. So she's not sailing from Europe. She's sailing mainly in New York, mainly in North America.
So what itinerary is she doing?
So in the autumn, she's sailing from New York, and she's mainly doing short sailing. She's kind of going to be more of the exploration ship, I would call her. So she starts off this September with her first of her 4 more mermaidens, Virgin call them. So their inaugural sailings are mermaidens, and she's having 4 of them. The first one is this weekend now. So she's going from New York. I don't know where she's going. I think she's doing the Bermuda sailing. I can't remember. But then she's also doing Canada. So she's doing one-way voyages up to Quebec and then one-way voyage back down then to New York again. So I think that's going to be cool. We love that kind of New England coast region of Canada. So that's going to be great. She does a couple of, again, Bermuda 6-night sailings again. Then she transits down to Miami, and she's doing kind of winter from Miami. So she's going to have a Miami mermaiden as well. And that's going to be a usual Caribbean fare then as well. So all 4 lady ships are going to be sailing from the Caribbean this winter. 3 from Miami, and one's going to be sailing from, I never get it right, San Juan, sorry, she's going to be sailing from then, the 4th lady ship. So Virgin always have a ship sailing from San Juan in the winter at least. Summertime depends on availability. Then in the spring, she's going through the Panama Canal. So she's been configured. The lifeboats are slightly tighter into the ship, basically, which has made a few cabin changes, which we'll get to later on, I guess. But that means she can now transit through the Panama Canal. That sailing was incredibly popular and sold out within about a week. So we've got a few sailors on the Panama Canal. She then does in spring into kind of early summer, she's doing a few sailings from LA. So obviously going down to kind of Mexico from the LA coast. And then she's transited from LA up to Vancouver initially to do Alaska. But then she's primarily doing an Alaska season from Seattle.
Right.
For the summer months then, basically. And then does it all in reverse then, basically, then for the winter months.
So lots of coverage for like different... Well, I'll have to have a look at that and see if it stops at San Francisco. Because that's our next cruise. That's where we want to stop. So
I think this is what's unique about it because, and this is why they wanted to give her a bit more time as well, because Virgin have done a very good job of covering off the core of the Caribbean and the Mediterranean Greek Isles, and they've done that for year on type of thing. And I think this ship now especially allows them, with their ability to kind of get through North America, through the Panama Canal, it gives them the choice then to kind of put her on both coasts. A lot of us were expecting this ship to go down to Australia because they haven't returned back to Australia after their first debut season. More ships are pulling out of Australia, unfortunately. So I think that's not just a Virgin Voyages thing. Disney have also said they're not going back to Australia as well. But it does free up more choice type of thing. And what I never saw coming when I first started sailing Virgin Voyages, I never thought we would ever see a ship sail Alaska, because the ships are built for the sun. They're very much kind of like outdoor facing, sun facing, they're sun worshipping ships. So when they announced Alaska, I was, even myself as a hardcore fan, I was a bit like, ooh, not sure the ships are made for Alaska. I think they're going to have to do some changes if they're going to do that. And to be fair to them, they've taken that feedback on board and they've made some changes to the layout of not the layout, but just how some venues work to give her more kind of viewing spaces, basically, which I think would be great for Panama Canal and Alaska as well.
Right. So this is the newest ship and it's called Brilliant Lady. Yep. What is different on this ship to the others?
Yep. So good place to start, I guess, is the whole, because she's slightly slimmer to get through the Panama Canal, what they've had to do is take out some cabins and make the balconies slightly smaller. So she has, only on this ship, she has a number of balconies called the slightly smaller sea terrace. So these are balcony cabins. They are limited view. I'm a bit annoyed because we were told they weren't, but now she's built, we now know they are limited view. So they're right where the lifeboats are. The views are great, to be honest. You can always see directly out above a lifeboat on board all the obstructed cabins on Virgin, but we were just told they weren't obstructed. But because the balcony is slightly smaller, you get 2 hammocks rather than the usual 1, which I think is quite a nice little perk, because sometimes couples are like, we'd both like to sit in the hammocks, but there is only 1 hammock on a Virgin cabin. Those slightly smaller sea terraces, which are unique to Brilliant Lady, have 2 hammocks, sorry. So we got to have a little look around them as well. They were the only real cabins we went bothered to see, because I'm like, I've slept in all the other cabins. I'll have a little look at the slightly smaller ones to see what they're about.
Have they got 2 because they haven't got chairs?
Yeah, pretty much. They can only fit like a drinks table on them. They can't fit the standard chairs.
Right. And what else? Is there any other difference in the actual cabin, or is the cabin other than that?
Identical. Everything else cabin-wise is identical. So all the other cabin types and categories are all identical. This is a really nerdy thing. The decor follows Resilient Lady. So Scarlet Lady, Valiant Lady have similar curtains. It's really like soft stuff. They have the same kind of gradiated curtain. They have the same bedside lamp. Resilient Lady and Brilliant Lady have the same. So they have like a wicker bedside lamp rather than this modern looking one that Scarlet has. And same with the curtain. It's the more nautical kind of Grecian inspired curtains. It's really minor soft goods differences between the two of them, and like the colors of the mirror, they tend to have a different gradient on them than on the other ships, but it's very soft things like that, cabin wise at least anyway.
Right. Okay. So what else is different? Because or is it the same ship? But this is because obviously I've never been on a Virgin, and I understand other brands that they have certain categories and certain, what they're called, what's the name for it? Classes that are the same. Explain Virgin to me.
Yeah, so Virgin, basically, all 4 ships are classed as lady ships. So lady ship is the class. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if they make another class, if they go with a new naming convention. But because they're all called something lady, the kind of term for the 4 ships is the lady class, basically, or the lady ships, they call them. So they're all identical in terms of venue layout. So you're going to find the same core venues everywhere, the same kind of lobby, which we call them the roundabout on Virgin. That's the same on all the ships. It's got the same like kind of layout, the same spiral staircase. The champagne bar sip is in the same space, but the furniture will be different. The curtains will be different. So the same layout, just different soft goods in them, basically. It's going to have the same kind of ice cream bar called Lick Me Till I Scream. That's on all 4 lady ships. The social, which is like the sports venue and where they do all the quizzes, that's on all 4 lady ships. Just again, the furniture's different. You'll find like different fussball tables or different table games in them, that type of thing. The dock and the dock house, again, on all 4 lady ships. So that's kind of going to be like a meze style, trattoria style venue. There's an indoor version, an outdoor version right at the very back of the ship. That's found on all 4 lady ships as well. So across the fleet, at the moment, all 4 ships in general, about 90% the same regards to venues. So your favorite venues on every single ship just will have different artwork or different installations on it. So very similar to like the Edge series by like Celebrity,
right, yeah,
or the Oasis class, if you get what I mean. The same core layouts there, they just may have slightly different venues or different furniture in the venues.
So what were your thoughts then on the ship?
It was really nice to get back on board. So we haven't sailed Virgin this year. It was a conscious choice to kind of try new product this year and try and do different brands. We've done, I think it was 13 voyages in the 3 years Virgin have launched. So we've done a lot of Virgin Voyages cruises type of thing. And it's because we love it so much. But it was really nice to get on board and see what is different. So some of the venues have had kind of, what do they call, glow ups, they've called them. So some of the venues have had changes made to them to make them better fitted for sailing in the scenic regions. Those two, the main ones are going to be the roundabout, which I can get to in a bit, and also the athletic club at the back of the ship as well. And then smaller changes to do with like glass, basically. So the glass is now transparent, whereas before it was tinted. So again, you can see outside the ship more. So she lets in a lot more natural light. And she's just a brighter ship and has more cozier spaces for relaxing in. I think what I'm seeing is, in the years I've been working with Virgin, from when they first launched and they were being quite rebellious, they used to call themselves. So we're talking like very cheeky, they were very sexy, they were trying to be provocative at first. I think they've realised that was probably a step too far for the cruise industry. And over time, they've kind of been just tweaking what that messaging is. So they're still very playful. You're still going to get kind of adult vibe and atmosphere on board, but they've definitely scaled back kind of the tone on it. It's a lot more... pedestrian is a word I use quite a lot, but it's not pedestrian compared to like other cruise lines. It's still very playful, right, but it's not as in your face as it was when they launched. They've now realized that the core experience is to build a premium boutique cruise line that goes to great places with great food. Everything else is kind of what packages it up, rather than leading in with all that very like... There was a lot of talk about like the sex kits that were available in people's cabins. There was a lot of talk about like the sexual education show that was on board. A lot of that stuff's been scaled back now, and you're just getting really good shows with a bit of an adult tongue-in-cheek humor rather than outright overt, over-the-top sexualness.
Right, okay. And why do you think they've done that? Do you think that put people off, or do you think, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think it did. I think for me, it attracted me type of thing. It attracted me to the brand because I was like, oh, wow, this is cruise done fun. I like it when we're treated like adults on a cruise ship type of thing. But I do think some of it was a bit cringy. It was a bit like, okay, yes, you didn't need a sexual aid kit in the cabin. Like, come on. You can maybe sell one in the shop. Great, but it doesn't need to be in the cabin as part of your like cabin amenity kit. Probably not. And like some of like the over-the-top sexualness type of thing where they didn't talk about sex, but they just said, if you're going to get down and dirty, do it below decks, as in your cabin. It was one of the signs written on the ship. And it was like, oh, it just doesn't need to be quite that far in your face. You know, you can do it, be playful, talk like a little cheeky, wink type of thing. Very much like the Carry On movie style of camp, kind of sexiness. That's more where they are now type of thing. It's all a little bit kind of cheeky wink style rather than kind of over, let's just talk about it. Yeah,
because I can't remember one of your cruises you was on and you shared one show and I'd have been terrified.
I don't know which one it was. Oh, I think that was probably Persephone, which is still a very sexy show. That show still happens. And we only watch some of the new entertainment. So this ship, is launching with all new shows. Every single show is brand new for this ship. And because we're booked on, so we're doing Alaska, we're doing the very first. It's not the Mermaiden because they're being very political about it. The Mermaiden is from Seattle, which is the voyage after hours. We're doing the Vancouver to Seattle repositioning cruise. So technically, as far as I'm concerned, we're on the very first Alaska cruise because it's the first one that sails in Alaska. But because Seattle's their home port, the following voyage does a round trip Seattle. So that's the Mermaiden. So I'm having an argument with Richard Branson and he's not listening to me about it. But what was I getting to? So, sorry, because we're booked on that for 10 nights, we chose to not see much of the shows when they were previewing them to kind of have something to look forward to for our own cruise when we get on board.
And when are you doing that?
May.
Right.
May next year.
And so is there any differences in food?
There is, yeah. So they started this actually last year. So Scarlet Lady, which is the first ship, went into dry dock last year. And when she went into dry dock, they changed Razzle Dazzle to a new concept, basically. So when Razzle Dazzle launched, it was a vegetarian forward restaurant. And it confused people because they were like, what, there's no meat? And it's like, no, there is meat, but it's vegetarian forward. There's a lot of vegetarian options. And then people didn't go. It wasn't very popular. So they then redesigned the menu 2 years ago, and I love the second version of the menu. The second version of the menu is American comfort food. So it's very much like my favorite lamb shank, short ribs, chicken wings, the secret burger on the secret menu, like incredible food. It's probably now become one of our favorite eateries on board. But a lot of people still didn't go because it was like, oh, but it's razzle dazzle. They still thought it was the original concept. So Scarlet Lady, they introduced a new concept in that same space. So they just kind of redesigned the venue, and it's now called Lucky Lotus by Razzle Dazzle. And it's a kind of elevated Chinese eatery on board. So you get kind of a lot of Chinese food and things like that. I haven't tried that one yet because we've not been back on board Scarlet. So Brilliant Lady, get into this, sorry, she's launched with Rojo by Razzle Dazzle. Completely new design, though. They've completely redesigned the entire venue. It looks nothing like Razzle Dazzle. It's in the same space, but it's all new furniture. It's earth tones. It's all very natural fiber. It's very much kind of like a Spanish tapas house. And the food's really good. I don't think it's as nice for me personally as the second version, the American comfort food menu, because I love that menu. It's one of my favorites. But it is nice to have something unique now to some of the ships. And we've been told that when Valiant Lady goes into dry dock next year, they're also going to change Razzle Dazzle on that ship as well now. So technically next year, all 4 ships will have one exclusive restaurant that will offer a unique cuisine to that ship now. So they're trying to do that as well now to kind of make the ships have some sort of differences to them as well.
So there is no specialty dining, is there?
No.
So everything's included?
Yeah. The way it works with dining, there's no main dining room, I think is the best way to explain it. So when you get on board Virgin Voyages, you're not going to be dining first seat and second seating. There's no kind of flexible dining. The way it works is, in general, suites are different, but in general, 45 days before, you can start making reservations for the 6 main eateries on board. So each ship has 6 restaurants. 5 of them are the same on all the ships. And now there's this new Razzle Dazzle concept that's different, depends on which ship you're on. So you're going to have like the Wake, which is the steakhouse. So if you think like Chops Grill level, basically where you choose like filet mignon, you can have your different cuts of steak, you get all the sides and everything. It generally is the level of something like Chops Grill or one of the steakhouses on board other cruise lines of speciality. You've got Extra Virgin, which is the Italian restaurant on board. It's a 5-course carb smorgasbord, like literally you're rolled out of that restaurant every time you dine there type of thing. There's Gunbei, which is a Korean barbecue restaurant. So you cook the meat and veg, or they cook the meat and veg in front of you on a grill on a type of thing. And there's some amazing food. The crispy chicken in that restaurant is incredible. I love that. What else is there? So Pink Agave is the Mexican restaurant on board. So again, it's very kind of almost tapas size where you get small, medium and large plates type of thing. Very good for communal dining. Love that one. Razzle Dazzle we've talked about. And there's one more. Oh, Test Kitchen, sorry.
Right.
Test Kitchen is a unique concept. It used to be 6 courses. It's now down to 5 just because we were jokingly saying a few years ago, like, this is the meal that never ends. It's not a short meal. It's like 2 to 3 hours minimum in Test Kitchen. It goes on for a while. But it's very like concept dining ultimately. So it's designed to play on your senses of both sight and taste and sound type of thing. So not so much sound, but kind of smell, sorry. So for example, one of the courses, you just get told what the main ingredient is. So one of them is mushroom. And then when they plate it for you, you get like a pate in the shape of a mushroom, and it looks just like a giant mushroom cut up on your plate, but it's like a mushroom pate type of thing. I love it. It's so flavorful, really smoky. It's incredible, and every course is like that. So you don't know what's in it, what it's going to be. They don't tell you like it's peas with this, cook this way. You just get told it's egg.
So it's a bit like Wonderland as a concept, right?
Yeah. Very much, yeah. I think it's a bit more pedestrian, and I keep using that word. I think it's still edgy, don't get me wrong, and some courses blow people's brain. I think Americans really struggle with the egg course because it's not a cooked egg, you get a runny egg. And I know in America, runny eggs are not very as popular as they are over here type of thing. They like their eggs cooked. And it does freak out a lot of people. So the egg course especially is egg and peas type of thing where you're meant to blend it all together, and some people are like, why are you serving me sick? I love the egg course. It's incredible. It comes out in a smoked like bell glass, and they pull the glass off and all the smoke comes off, and you get that smoky kind of scent with it, and then you mix the egg in and it's really rich, flavorful. I love it. But it does challenge some people that there's now multiple menus. So I think there's, off the top of my head, there's 3 menus on board Test Kitchen, and they alternate them depending on the month basically. So you'll always do you'll do one of 2 menus across the week. So the beginning of the week will be menu 1, the second half of the week will be menu 2. Or it could be you'll always get menu 1, the original menu, no matter when you sail of the year. But then depends on the month, you'll get either menu 2 or menu 3 and menu 1, if that makes sense. So kind of they alternate between the second or third menu. So there's always 2 menus if you do want to dine back there again and try the same concept with a new menu.
Right, okay, right. It's just, when you've not experienced it, it's really hard to get your head around it all, isn't it? Because it's just completely different, like you say.
It is great because, as you say, pretty much every night you're eating specialty level food. You can obviously as well then do all the casual eateries. So they've got like the pizza place if you just want to get a pizza and not bother with any of the main eateries. The social does like hot dogs. It doesn't do burgers, but it does hot dogs. What else? Chicken wings, things like that. They're more like snacky stuff. But if you wanted like to do that type of dining, you could. The dock as well does food. So the dock does small like meze style plates. So you can find like fried shrimp, hanger steak on strips on pita bread. You've got dips and hummus and things like that as well. They're mainly designed as between meal snacks or a lunch venue. But obviously, if you wanted to skip a main meal, you could just go to one of the casual eateries as well. There's Sun Club Cafe, which is right at the very top by the pool deck. It's a bit of a hidden gem because not many people can find it because it's right by the entrance to Richard's Rooftop. So some people don't go that far because they think, oh, that's the sweet area. That does like bao buns and what else does it do? Like not edamame, poke bowls, things like that. So that's only open during the lunchtime window, so it is very much like a poolside bite-to-eat type of thing. And then obviously you've got the galley as well. Then the galley is, I think there's 10 stations off the top of my head in the galley. So it's very much like street food concept. So you go in and you do like Taco About Us, which is the taco stall. They've got the burger place then. You can get burgers. There's all day breakfast. There's pressed sandwiches and hot sandwiches. There's the ramen station and the sushi station. So you can basically sit down. You don't have to get up and order. They've now started doing it again because people just didn't realize you sit down and get food delivered to you. A lot of people used to cruises are used to going up and ordering their food type of thing. So they now, I think it's for the worse, but you can now go up if you want to and wait in line for your food. But technically you don't have to. I love the table service in the galley, which is the buffet venue on board.
So if they've got all different concepts, then how do you know are there menus for all of them on the table?
Yeah. So obviously the 6 main eateries, you can in the app when you're ready to book type of thing. Even now, like my Voyages now for months where I can go in and see the menu already for Razzle Dazzle for the 6 main eateries type of thing. The menus in the galley and Sun Club, the dock, they tend to stay the same. They'll maybe change the beginning of the year. Tends to be kind of when the transatlantic happens, so kind of when the season changes over, when the ships come to Europe. If they're going to introduce a new menu, it'll be then either when the ships come to Europe or when the ships leave Europe to go back to America. That's when they'll do a menu refresh and some menu items will change. But on the whole, not much changes. We're talking 1 or 2 plates get swapped out, basically. They're testing, and I've heard is going really well, but each ship is now starting to introduce their own specials. So like Resilient Ladies, Extra Virgin will have a special unique to Resilient Lady and Extra Virgin. And they're also testing rotational specials as well. So every night they may say to you, the special this week is this. But these are all tests, and it depends on stock, inventory, and so on and so forth.
So who would you say this ship's for?
Do you know what? It's got typecast for being for millennials and sexy people, and it really isn't. The average demographic for Virgin Voyages is older than most people think. By proxy of its price point, it is a premium cruise line, so it's not a cruise line that many kind of not millennials, but kind of younger people can afford. They do offer cheaper sailing, so Barcelona, for example, is cheaper than sailing the Greek Isles by a good £1,000 average per voyage. But we sail it, and I'm in my 40s now. We sell it to customers who are in their 20s, and we've got customers who are in their 70s. They all love it for different reasons, and I think the early marketing and the early influencer vibe for Virgin got the messaging really wrong. I don't think Virgin helped with how they marketed it either, but I think the early messaging made it out to be an influencer ship and it was full of sexy, attractive people. It really isn't. It is just like every other cruise line. I think if you like brands like Celebrity, possibly Oceania, but you want something a bit more fun, and I don't mean that those other cruises aren't fun. I just mean fun as in your idea of a good time is sitting in like an Ibiza chill bar or an Ibiza beach club, or you like going to Mykonos and you like sitting in beach clubs and you like sitting by the poolside and having cocktail service. It's very much that vibe on a warm day on board Virgin. You're sat by the poolside, there's kind of bar service, they're playing like chill Ibiza club-like music. It's very tranquil, relaxed, but it's very much that vibe. But then you're going to have like themed parties then throughout the week. They're not every night. There are nights where there are no theme parties and it's just like live music in like on the rocks or someone like that. But they do have like PJ parties, so you wear your pajamas and go to like the party, and they're playing like noughties, pop music and R&B. It sounds really stupid, and it kind of is, but that's why it's fun, because they don't take it too serious, if you get what I mean. But they do an 80s party. These all change by ship now. It is constantly moving around, but there's an 80s party. This ship, Brilliant Lady, launches with a party called Electric, and I thoroughly love this. We got to do 3 hours of it at the end of our preview night, and it is a kind of noughties dance night type of thing, with all the cast to come out wearing like neon costumes with neon face painting on, and they're playing like proper 90s noughties garage songs, dance songs that we would have been going out to in the club when I was younger. And I love the 80s party on board Resilient Lady, but I don't like 80s music. This is my generation's like nightclub music. So I was like, I've got a migraine. I need to get off now. I've been up since 5 a.m. Like, it was a really long day. As soon as they started playing music, I was like, oh man, I'm ready. Can't wait now. I'm booked now. I can't wait to get on board.
It is weird, isn't it? Because like you say, the initial marketing alienated a lot of people.
100%.
And I think that's the hard thing.
Yeah.
Because then you feel like I feel like, for me, booking is a risk.
Yeah, totally.
And that's just because of what I've been fed and seen on media.
Yeah, I do think a lot of the original influencers did a disservice to it. And I think a lot of the influencers who still go on now, who are doing the short sailing. So obviously last year we had short sailings from Portsmouth, and they were really popular. They sold great, and they've done great for people to get on board at a lower price point than having to fly to the Med and do a full 7-night voyage. But again, they were doing 3-4-night voyages, and all they talked about was how drunk they got for the entire time. Now, don't get me wrong. I have been there, and I've been on board Virgin Voyages, and I've been drunk for 7 days at sea type of thing. You can totally do that, but it's not what the core of the product is. You know, that is a part of what Virgin Voyages. You can go on Royal Caribbean and get drunk every single night for 7 nights in the nightclub and dancing if you wanted to. It's no different in that regard than other cruise lines. It's just I think they do their parties better than other cruise lines, in my opinion. But you do also get the daytime where it's, you know, chilling out by the poolside, having great food, socializing with friends by the hot tubs, going and playing board games in the social, going on family. Like, multi-generational doesn't mean babies and kids, it means teenagers as well. So I've just done now recently a really big booking where they're all going away as a multi-gen family with the grandparents, the parents and the children, but the children are in their 20s type of thing. That's still a family going away together, but they're having kind of adult time together. They're not going in the kids clubs. They're playing board games. They're playing Cards Against Humanity in the social instead. Like, it's just a slightly different side of the industry that they don't want to go on and be dealing with kids by the poolside. They still want to go away and be adults type of thing. So it is, at its heart, it's just like every other cruise line. I think it's just the initial, like, they know this. They've admitted it recently. They got the messaging wrong when they launched the ships. They know that now. They've admitted it. It's taken them a couple of years, but they now know they got it wrong.
Yeah, because I mean, it's something I could see that our boys would like it. And I mean, I've told you this before, they are so intolerant of kids, which really makes me laugh. I think, well, you know, it's not that long ago you were. So I could see it being something that they'd like, especially because one of them's a chef, so I think the dining would be a really big pull. Jack doesn't want to be around kids, so again, that'd be a pull for him. But I think it's me that holds us back. But like you say, like, lots of people go on it. I mean, my friend's just been on with her adult daughter and loved it, said it was amazing.
They've, like, I sound like I'm selling everyone Virgin Voyages, but it is a big part of what I do every day. But they've won Travel and Leisure's Best Mainstream Cruise Line Award now for 3 years in a row. They're the only cruise line to win it multiple years in a row type of thing. They are winning award after award after award. And I see why. I'm too close to it because I know I can't be impartial because they are probably my favourite cruise line. But I can see it when I speak to customers and when they come off board. One thing I will say, right, as I can say this as a travel agent, my rebooking rate for Virgin Voyages is higher than any other cruise line. More and more of my sailors who book Virgin Voyages book either when they're on board higher than any other cruise line or within about a week or two of coming off the ship because they're so happy. Not saying Virgin are perfect. You're still going to find the occasional problem where there's going to be a badly maintained cabin. There's going to be a badly served meal. All that stuff happens regardless of which brand you're on. So I'm not saying they're perfect, but I have a much higher repeat booking rate and a much higher satisfaction rate with my Virgin Voyages customers than anyone else.
See, and you know, and this, again, this goes back to how it was sold and how... But the things that I feel like I know what they look like are that sparkly thing that you
Yep.
stand in.
The manor corridor.
You've got the pool, but a
Yep.
daytime picture when it looks a bit odd.
Yep.
And the cabin. Oh, no, not the cabin, the hammock. And that's what you see on repeat. And it's like there's no one sharing the other areas of the ship. Is there any art? What are the nice areas, like the cool areas? And that's what I feel, because that's all I see on repeat, those three things. And you want to see other areas, don't you? You want to see what the lounges are like, the bars.
Well, I think you messaged me when I was on last year, and you were saying like, "Oh my God, I've never seen any of this side of the ship because like there's a chess set on the pool on this what do they call it, on the pool deck? It's not the pool deck; it's between the two pool decks, the front and the back. But there is a giant chess set, and it really gets used. But every now and then you'll be walking past, and you will see people playing chess, and it's a giant like garden games version of a chess set. There's swings like on the opposite side of the ship. There is a giant seesaw for adults on the other side of the ship as well. There are some really cool spaces, and I think that leads into actually one of the spaces that has been changed. There's two I want to talk about, but one of the big changes is the athletic club, which if you've ever seen pictures of the back of the ship with the net that you can walk onto, because a lot of people hype up this net that you can walk over to that hangs over the edge of the ship. Kind of doesn't. It hangs over the breakfast area beneath you. But that part of the ship is called the Athletic Club. And it had, when the ship launched, a giant 270-degree wraparound day bed you can sit on. This space has had a slight tweak to it now, and I think it's for the better. More shade. Me and Phil have been moaning for years that there is very little shade on board Virgin Voyages. So what they've done now is they've redesigned the layout of the day beds. They're all clustered together, and they put umbrellas to block the shade at the back of the ship. And I was like, oh my God, Phil, we can actually use Athletic Club for more than just getting a drink, because now there's actual shade and beds. But then the day beds that normally face inwards into the ship, they actually now face outwards outside of the ship. And they've got rid of the metal at the back of the ship and put glass there instead. So if you're laying down now, not only do you face outside of the ship, but you can actually now see outside because there's glass, which again, Panama Canal, scenic sailing, Alaska, it's going to be great to kind of have those options to kind of just lay there or sit there and be able to actually see outside the ship, which sounds like a small change, but it makes a big difference to having options for where you want to stand when you're doing scenic sailing.
I think that's where you were when we must have been having a video call, and that I'd never seen that area ever, and it looked like a really cool area.
Yeah,
and that's I suppose my heart. But then because I'm not going to go and look for a YouTube video because I'm not planning to book.
Yeah.
But what that means is no one's subliminally convincing me, apart from you all the time, that I need to book it, and that's how you convert, isn't it? Through the subliminal message, if that makes sense.
No, and their marketing is now getting better. I think their marketing is getting better, showcasing the kind of the offering rather than the concept. I think that's the only way I can explain it. I think they did sell on concept originally, like we're different. Look at us, how different we are. It was all very much about that. Whereas now I think they've realised they've got great dining, so they're running with the dining. They've got great destination. They go to great ports, type of thing. They've got a great entertainment package. It's not for everyone, but can you name a cruise line where you can kind of go, that's for everyone? Celebrities. I think celebrities entertainment is the height of the industry, if you get me, from a spectacle point of view, but it's not my personal cup of tea that I want to watch all day, every day. You know, and same with like Princess, great entertainment, but I was bored. I was like, it's a cabaret show at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's nothing groundbreaking. So again, for me anyway, Virgin's entertainment, it's very quirky, it's edgy, it's a little bit off kilter. I love that type of stuff. The humor's very much me. Sings to me type of thing. I think what they're doing now more than ever is they're focusing on what makes it unique and special, definitely, because that's what every cruise line should do. You know, celebrities should talk about their great design, their great kind of enrichment program. Celebrity do what they do incredibly well. And I think Virgin have got a lot more confident now. And I think that's what this ship shows. The way they've launched this ship versus the other three ships, it's a lot more confident. They know what they're offering. They're championing destination. They're talking about the fact they're calling into New York and they're sailing from New York now. They're talking about the new spaces, the new venues. It's more about the entertainment. It's not about, look how sexy we are and let's put sexy people on board the ship, you know. I think it feels like a totally different Virgin Voyages we're dealing with now than we were 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, and probably I'd say it's more appealing to me now than it ever was before.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the softer marketing.
And it comes down to like small changes. It's not small, actually, it's massive. But the way they've redesigned the roundabout. So if you've never been on board the ship, 9 times out of 10, depends on the port, you enter the ship in the roundabout. This is over 2 stories and it's right in the middle of the ship. And from there, the rest of the ship unravels, basically. A lot of the eateries, like the restaurants, they're off the roundabout on different floors. There's a bar in the centre of it called On the Rocks, which is a cocktail lounge where they do live music in the evenings. It's where retail is. So if you want to do kind of the shopping on board, duty free, the tattoo parlour, all that stuff, that's off the roundabout. And then you go up 1 floor and it's where the ice cream is, the pizza place, the ship's champagne lounge, kind of just, it goes around, spiral staircase, and then you go front or back, different venues type of thing. It's been completely redesigned in regards to layout, at least anyway, on board Brilliant Lady. Again, for this new kind of Alaska approach where they're going to be kind of cold weather, you may want to be inside but still see outside. So they've got rid of like these giant, and they were stunning. They were very beautiful, kind of dichroic pillars that were all lined up, and it looks beautiful in pictures. But it kind of closed off that space where you couldn't see outside when you were stood one side of the ship. There was also like an area called the Big Red Desk, lovingly, which is where they were using it for kind of what they call shore things, which is port adventures or shore excursions. That took up a whole section of it. There was no seating, but it was just this big red desk ultimately. And it looked great. It was apparently worth tens of thousands of dollars, but served no purpose when the shore things weren't open. What they've done now is they've completely redesigned all of this space. So the one bar in there basically was called Draft House. I forgot the name of it. It'll come to me halfway through this video, but mainly sold beer and sold shots. Basically, no, it is Draft House. Sorry. So sold shots weirdly and beer. That's now been redesigned. It still does that, but it's now a full bar. But it also has a coffee shop there as well. So now there's another coffee shop on the roundabout. But there's all soft furniture now as well, and the window seats have been turned into full-on booths you can sit in. Whereas before there was like a pillow, and you could kind of sit in them, but it wasn't really designed for it. Whereas now they're full kind of, they go halfway up the window now, so you can actually sit back, recline in them, and look out the windows now. There's all new soft furniture. The big red desk has moved, and so shore things into like this little corner now, so it's got its own dedicated space. And then that whole area where the big red desk is now all more furniture and seating area. It's just a lot more welcoming, a lot more inviting, and I can now see myself spending time there, particularly like if you do want somewhere just to sit for an hour or two on a quiet sea day, or on not a quiet sea day, there never is a quiet sea day, but on a quiet port day, you want to sit on the ship somewhere. There was very few places to sit outside of the sun. You had to be outside, basically. This now adds this whole new element of kind of spaces to sit in and just take in the ship and relax a bit more. So I think that's been a big positive change as well, to kind of see them add more spaces to sit back and watch the scenery in, which is what the ship never had. But I think this feeds into turning the brand more into kind of more of a destination focused brand rather than it being purely about aesthetics, looks and design.
Yeah, definitely. So it's, I suppose if you want going through Alaska, then you want that, don't you? It's not about all being outside. Yeah, I think that's what they've done. And I was concerned, and instantly after going on board we were on for a long time. We were on from 10 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. So it was a long time on board to kind of get in. It was a free roam as well. So it wasn't one of your typical ship visits where you're rushed on in the morning and you're ferried around away from guests. There were no guests because it was pre-sailing. So we had full reign. We literally was like, come on, enjoy yourself for the day. We got to dine in the wake for brunch, and we got to dine in Rojo in the evenings as well. Everyone got to pick a restaurant. Because I had a priority invite, I was able to get what I wanted, which was to try the new restaurant Rojo. And what's Rojo?
So Rojo is the Spanish tapas house, basically, on board.
Okay. So does it still work the same with the bar tab, that you buy credits and...
Yeah, pretty much. All that stuff is still the same. I don't see that going away anytime soon. They did do a test for one of the ships in the Caribbean where they were testing an unlimited drinks package. I couldn't tell you if it's still happening. Caribbean isn't a core market. I sell more now than I ever have, but it's not a core market for me. But I've never seen any of my sailors anyway get invited to test out this unlimited drinks package. When I looked at it, it was quite expensive, and you had to drink a lot to get value out of it. And every test I did, bar tab always worked out better.
Right, okay.
And for maybe if people don't know, bar tab ultimately, rather than having a drinks package where you pay per day, Virgin has a money behind the bar concept ultimately. So you buy a bar tab, you buy a denomination, so it goes from $200 up to $1,000, and depending on the denomination you purchase, you get bonus money. So the typical one people get is a $300 bar tab, gets you $50, and that happens every time you get it. So you buy multiple, you get multiple denominations. If you're in certain loyalty clubs, which is a whole other video, you get bonus money for that. So for us, for every 300, we get 100 bonus as well. So we actually get quite a lot of value for money on our bathtubs when we add them on with Virgin. And the great thing about them is you're not limited by who can use it. So you can buy drinks for anyone in the cabin. So if one person drinks, the other person doesn't, you're not limited. But also if you meet with friends type of thing and you want to be generous and you want to be that kind of social butterfly and buy bottles of Moet for everyone, you can do that with the bar tab as well, because there's no like, oh, well, it's your bar tab, you can't spend it on, friends you just made type of thing.
Yeah, which can be quite... Well, I say that. I suppose if everyone's got a drinks package, it's not restrictive, but
yeah,
I get it. It's not very social, is it, a drinks package?
No. Well, it's the whole thing of like you have to go up and order, because I know some ships are better than others, but on some brands, it's one of those, no, your friends have to order. They have to come to the bar. You can't just say, oh, and can I also get them a drink? They have to go up to the bar and that type of thing, whereas you got none of that on Virgin. They're just like, yeah, tap the band, the money goes off. Great.
Yeah. So... have you got any photos or video footage from the ship that people can see?
I do, but not yet. But by the time this video goes out, I promise I will have my Brilliant Lady preview. I've written it, but I just haven't put it on the website. But yes, I will link it in the description below. So if people want to have a look, it's more focused at kind of what's new to Brilliant Lady. So if you want to see the new spaces more than anything, then definitely I'll link that below this. But I do also have a video tour of the lady ships. I've called it lady ships because I pulled footage from all 3 ships I'd been on at that point. But I do have, and it's a 45-minute epic, so get your popcorn and a good drink to kind of watch it. But I go in depth then about kind of all the different spaces on board. So if you want to have a look around the ship, there is a massive video on YouTube, and I also have a blog on the website, which I'll also link below as well, that has a full guide of all the lady ships and these key spaces. Just like I say, it's a little bit out of date now because Virgin have started changing like Lucky Lotus and Rojo on Brilliant Lady, but it gives you a good idea of what you were saying basically about like what are the different spaces and what are the between spaces. I think a lot of videos, to kind of cut them down to like 10 minutes to make them digestible, cut out a lot of like the traveling spaces, the smaller spaces that people maybe overlook.
Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it, with the unknown? You want to see it. And that's what I do. I like to see stuff and know what I'm going to.
Yeah. Same, yeah. I do like a good 10 minutes like ship tour, and some of the ships, because I'm not on them as much, they are shorter. Most of my videos are shorter, but Virgin, I went on 13 times. I know the ships incredibly well. I don't think there's an inch of those ships I don't know. And it's really nerdy things. Me and Phil were pointing out like colours of furniture, like that's the level of knowledge we have. Like, oh, isn't that chair blue on this ship? And like it's unhealthy level of knowledge we have about Virgin Voyages. Like, so I know the ships really well. So I was able to kind of get into the details, and I do talk extensively on that ship. And it's got a full galley tour. I think the galley tour alone is like 8 minutes, where I talk about all the different eateries and what the specials are and what's available type of thing. So it is a little in depth. I have been debating doing a shorter 10-minute version snapshot, so those people who don't want to know the ins and outs can just get an overview of the ship, which is on my to-do list.
Brilliant.
So guys, like I have a ton of information about Virgin Voyages. We always have special offers. I don't want to sales pitch this too much because that's not what the podcast is about, but we do also have a lot of specials on there. We have group sailings as well. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about sailing with Virgin Voyages, there's a ton of guides, content, blogs, itineraries, everything on my website. You can hunt that down anywhere under magical-traveler.com, and all my social media as well under magical-trvlr. You can find out all those details about sailing Virgin Voyages, but also the other cruises if you'd like to maybe book with me as well. But I know Sarah as well, if the guys are looking for kind of a lot of the content you've got. I know you've not got much about Virgin, but you obviously have a lot of travel guides on your website. Where can the guys find your content?
Yep, so you can find us over on Mini Travellers and Mini Travellers YouTube, where we have got some ship tours as well. Obviously not Virgin because we're more family focused, but I will link our YouTube channel below and website so that you can have a look.
Yep, brilliant. And if you're only just finding this video because you're interested in Brilliant Lady or this podcast episode, we do have other Virgin Voyages episodes. I think we've got like 4 now, something like that. Yeah. So we've got 2 reviews of cruises that have been on board. I can't remember which episodes. I know we definitely did the Med. Did we do 2 in the Med, didn't we? I think we did the Med with Rome, and we did another in the Med. And we have a bar tab episode as well, where I talk a little bit more about how the bar tab works and how drinks work on Virgin as well. So if you just search Magically Cruising, Virgin Voyages, I'm sure those episodes will come up as well. So if you want to have a little bit more of a deeper dive into what else is available on Virgin, we talk more about kind of what we dined and what we got up to specifically on board and actual sailing on those voyages, on those episodes as well. So guys, other than that, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we shall see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.
Bye.